In my opinion, we have nothing to go out there and campaign on, Chris. It's embarrassing.
I always find it interesting when the GOP tells the truth. And it happens so infrequently that it seems to be when they're letting their guard down and they don't think anyone's listening. Mike Johnson revealed that he thinks this is a Red Sea moment, that he's now Speaker of the House. If he thinks God's talking to him, he might have what I would call a mental disorder. We used to have something called, it's a book about Sybil, multiple personality disorders. I don't think it's very rational to say in this day and age, God spoke to me, and then I followed his directions. I said that to my followers, all 3,900 of you. God spoke to me and said, blah, blah, blah. You would be like, well, the cheese has gone off his cracker. And what does the GOP have to run on? Let's see. We had a small election in November. They lost in Ohio on abortion and marijuana. They lost both houses in Virginia because Glenn Youngkin wanted to have a 6-week abortion ban like what we have here in Florida. In Kentucky, they reelected a governor who was a Democrat. In Pennsylvania, where the Supreme Court seat was available, it went Democrat to prevent the Keystone State from having any type of issues like they had in 2020. And then there was voter suppression in heavily Democratic areas in the state of Alabama, or was it Mississippi? It was one of the two on the Gulf. And the Democrats have overperformed. And I think it has to do with the Dobbs decision. I signed a petition this year to make sure that a woman's right to choose is in our state constitution. And it has reached a threshold. So now the state of Florida, the Republican Party, is trying to say, they're going to play with the language to try and say something that it doesn't say, like kind of stuff they did in Ohio that didn't work. But the threshold is higher in Florida. It is 60%. If 60% of the Floridians vote yes on that referendum, abortion will be enshrined. That is a major blow to the GOP. So in my state, the governor of Florida and our supermajority GOP in the state house have taken over 1 million voters off the rolls. I checked my voter registration, and it's still good, but people who did mail-in ballots are the ones that went after. They did nothing when it came to the Infrastructure Act. They did nothing with the CHIPS Act. They are not doing anything to help with the border crisis. This is a border crisis they've created. Biden offered $14 billion, and if he offered $40 billion, Mike Johnson would say no, because they don't want to change the foreign policy that's causing the migration in the first place. These people that are leaving the areas south of Mexico and Mexico are leaving because of pressures from either China and Russia or conflict between China, Russia, and the United States, and they're trying to come to a better opportunity. We used to be a land for immigrants. Bring us, you're tired and you're poor and you're hungry. That's the reason why the Statue of Liberty is in New York City. You tell me what the GOP has accomplished. They have taken rights away from women. They have taken rights away from trans people and homosexuals. And in 3 or 4 states, they have denied food for children over the school break. So that $20, $40, $60 million, states like Nebraska, states like Iowa, states like Idaho, they're not taking food for hungry children. What has the GOP done that would actively encourage a base to come? What's going to attract the youth vote? What's going to get the under 25 kids? You attack women, you attack homosexuals, you attack identification and how they view people, because it's very, very different than people that are older than me. Why would anyone vote logically for the grand old party? The House passed less than 30 bills in a year. The previous year under Nancy Pelosi was over 300. That is 10 times the amount of bills. And those bills helped Americans. They brought the CHIPS Act and things like that we got last year. The infrastructure bill happened in 21. Those bills over time are now adding jobs. Last month it was 50,000 government jobs were added and another 170 other jobs. In December, the economy has been booming and unemployment has been under 4% for 22 months. Please tell me what the GOP has to offer, aside from a handmaiden's tale. Look at Kay Cox in Texas. Would you want that for your spouse, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your mom? She could lose her ability to have children. She had to flee her state. And the Fifth Circuit Court, which is filled by both Trump and Bush appointees, are making sure that women are going to die. Women are going to die this year because of GOP policy. They're going to die in red states. They're going to die at an alarming rate, and they're going to be poor, brown, and white women. This is what the GOP has to offer. Oh, and by the way, Donald Trump said you need to get over the death of your children. The day after a shooting where 9 people were shot, 1 person was killed, 3 teachers, 6 students. Get over it. That's what they've done. Thoughts and prayers, and fuck you. Please remember to vote true and vote blue.